your best days are ahead. Your best days are ahead. Hoda, I was up all night just thinking about every person who's going to listen to this and watch this and who the words like that they need in their life right now are your best days are ahead of you. You have said that the best things in your life have come after 50. Yeah. Can you share about that?
I mean, can you imagine like after I turned 50, happy birthday to you. And you would imagine, and everyone has a thought about that moment. Yeah. What is that going to feel like? Or what has it felt like? And I think in that moment, most of the things that you wished, hoped, and prayed for, if they weren't there, you wonder like, uh-oh, are they ever coming? So when it came to wanting children was something that I had always thought about, dreamt of, prayed for, hoped for, all the things. But in my life, I felt like it wasn't to be. And I kept thinking like, why isn't it to be? I had an early marriage and then I was diagnosed with breast cancer and everything sort of happened that way. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And kind of hastily, a doctor said, well, freezing your eggs doesn't really make sense at this stage because of X, Y, and Z. And all of a sudden, you're sitting here thinking to yourself, did I miss that? And maybe I did. And I was thinking to myself, don't complain. You have a beautiful, like your mom, your sister, your brother, your people in your life, your friends, who, this, that, and that. You have a beautiful life and a job that is supporting, us. So I was thinking to myself, let's just say thank you. And so that was good enough. So I was in the good enough phase of my life. That's good enough. I'm lucky. Stop complaining. And like every now and then someone would pop up who has it worse. And you're like, see, that was another sign to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I did say thank you. And I still remember this like it was yesterday, but I was walking down the street with my dear friend, Jen Miller, who I've loved since I moved to New York. And she and I have like such a soul connection. And she was chatting away and she said, well, you and I, we never wanted kids. And as we were walking, I literally dead stopped and looked at her and I said, Jen, actually, I always did. And she said, you never once said it to me in all these years. Like, what do you mean? And I said, well, I didn't say it because it couldn't be. So I'm not going to say something that's impossible. It's like me saying, I'm going to the moon tomorrow. Like, it's not happening. And when I said it, she goes, is that why you always said you wanted to be a teacher? Because I always said later in life, I'll be a teacher. I said, yes, I wanted a summer camp. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted all the things that involve kids. And then all of a sudden, like the way the universe works is once you speak something out loud, it can be a whisper to a best friend. It can be a whisper in the mirror to yourself. It can be whatever form it comes in, as long as it's verbalized, written down, whatever. All of a sudden, here comes the universe chasing me going, it's possible, girl. And so Sandra Bullock, I saw some story about her and Louie. She's adopting from New Orleans. I was like, wait, what? And so I Googled, of course, Sandra Bullock. How old is Sandra Bullock? Blah, blah, blah. She was my exact age. I was like, she's my age? She did it? Like, it's possible? And then when I went away to the Olympics in Rio, and I remembered seeing an image of a small boy who was covered in soot. It was like a war-torn area. And his picture captivated me. And I started crying. I was like, somebody needs me. Like I kept thinking somebody needs me too. Not only do I need somebody, but somebody needs me. And when I got back, I went to Joel, who I was dating at the time and had been dating for probably, I don't know, maybe he wanted to move in together. So he's like, let's move in. And I was like, okay. I said, I can't move in with him and keep this secret that I really, really want to have kids. Now he has a grown daughter in law school. So, so I said to Joel, hey, before we move in, I just want to have a talk with you. And he was like, okay. I said, this is not going to be a quick answer. So I want you to marinate over this. Don't answer me today. Don't even answer me tomorrow. Come back next week. Come back in 2 weeks. But this is an important question for me. And he was like, oh my God, like, what is this? I just, dating this girl for I don't know how many months. And I said, I would like to explore adoption with you? And he said, I don't need a minute. I go, what? He goes, the answer is yes. And I go, did you say yes? He goes, I said yes. I like sobbed on his chest. We moved in. I filled out the forms. And there was a little room upstairs. There's a bedroom and a little kind of room. And he said, I said, that'll be the baby's room when the baby comes in. He goes, well, okay, well, I'll use it as my den or to work out of until the baby comes in. I said, no, honey, you can't do that. He's like, why not? I go, because we have to make room. We have to make room for her or him. There has to be space. So let's leave it empty and let's see what happens. We filled out the paperwork. November comes. December comes. And, you know, we have Christmas and all that stuff. It's January. All of a sudden, I'm sitting in my office at work and I'm minding my own business. And they said it might take a year or 5 years. You know, they tell you all this stuff. I'm like, well, whenever it comes. So meantime, we'll just live. And I still remember I looked at my phone because it was buzzing and it said Ashley Project. And I called it the project. And she said, if I ever text you, you call me immediately because everything's time sensitive. So I dialed her number. But right before, I still remember I sat at my desk, I took a big exhale and I looked at the clock and I had a yellow pad and I started scribbling. I was like, oh my gosh, 11:53. I said, this is it. This is the moment. This is the before and after. Wow. My life's about to change. Like it was spilling out of me. And I took a deep breath and I dialed the phone and Ashley goes, she's here. I go, she's here? She goes, she's here. I go, she's here. Am I coming now? Is she here? She's here. I was weeping. We got Haley, brought her home. And in that moment, as I was holding her, I remembered thinking to myself how well she fit. Like right here, a child who I did not give birth to, a child who I loved since forever, as I told her. And when I held her, she just fit like she had been born there. And the love that I felt for that little girl was beyond anything I'd ever comprehended in my lifetime. And I held her on the plane home, protective, and just wanted, and I kept thinking to myself, oh my God, this is how life changes. And you who knows that other side of that coin, it was so beautiful and meaningful to me. And I knew in that moment, and it's funny, I'm trying to remember my age. I think she's now 7. So I was probably 52 by the time it all happened. And I was thinking to myself, look at this. Look at this. And I called Sandra Bullock because I was like, holy moly. And she said, you are about to enter a part of your life that you never imagined possible. And I said, I didn't think it was possible till I saw you doing it. So to think that a dream that seemed so far away could become a reality to a woman in her 50s was pretty shocking, and it was a life changer. Yeah, blessings.
Yeah, I know I've shared this with you before, but my mom who adopted me, she passed this last year. I cannot imagine loving a mom more than I love her, and I was adopted, and hearing you with you have 2 baby girls, two girls. Yeah. You just felt that instantly. I love that you said she's here.
She's here. That's all here. It was. Is she's here,
she's here.
And I think I'll never experience the joy of birth. However, the feeling of hearing on the other end of the phone those 2 words was to me the great miracle of life. And I think to know what's possible, I think often everything is about, years and time, and just to know that, although it is the most beautiful thing I've ever done, there are always going to be people who disagree with choices. And I will never forget this. I was home and I got a real letter in the mail. A letter. And sometimes people figure out where you live or whatever, and they write you with something. Can you send me a picture? Or, I saw this recipe, I don't know, whatever it might be.
Hoda, where'd you get your dress? Yep,
yeah.
Yep.
And it's, letters aren't as common anymore, but you still get those. And I opened this letter and she wrote in her handwriting. So in other words, she took a piece of paper and a pen and wrote, "How horribly irresponsible that you would do something like that to a little girl." And she wrote on and on about you are setting your child up for a terrible childhood. And she went on and on about who knows how long you'll be here and on and on. And I read it and I felt nauseous.
Is it because you're 52?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she was basically wagging her finger saying, what a horrible choice you made. And we know because we've had naysayers and people who are cruel or unkind. But that one, like, I can take stuff about me and how I dress, how I look, what I said, who cares? This one was like, and it was like a knife in my heart. And I sat there and cried. I was crying. I was like, and maybe I thought, why am I crying? Maybe because I worry that there's a part of her that was right. Maybe that was why I'm like a mess. And then I remembered, and a very important fact, my father died when he was in his early 50s. And you don't know when life's going to begin or end. You don't know where the last day will come. You don't know. So if you don't love because you're worried about when your last day's coming, then that'll be it. And then I started wondering, I wonder if she was so angry with that pen, writing and finding my address and putting a stamp on it and mailing it, that maybe she regretted a choice in her life. Like, I was trying to think of all the things, but it does remind you that you have to be strong in your choices, because as we both know, there are going to be people coming with sledgehammers saying, why did you do that? Why are you like that? Why did you dress like that? Why did you do that? That kind of thing. And I mean, I didn't doubt it, but I guess for all of us, we all have a tiny shadow that worries. I do want to make sure my kids, are cared for forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Yeah.
I'm sure that she probably has told herself the story that she is too old for something.
Yes.
And then
I wondered. Yeah.
now she's transmitting. They say if we don't transform our pain, we transmit our pain.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So we see that everywhere, all over online right now. What I think about Hoda is you sharing that you have now adopted 2 girls.
Yes.
In your 50s.
Yes.
In your 50s.
Yes.
Do you want more?
You're so cute, because I get signs, like I have held on to all of our baby stuff, all of it, because here's the truth about life. Like, I keep meeting people who remind you that your heart's ability to expand is beyond measure.
Yes.
And someone said, if you have the love, the space, the time, and you can take care of a child who needs it, who might otherwise have a life that is, not great, why wouldn't you?
Yes.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, and so I have not closed the door, because I think life is really interesting. And I think that, and I always think that when you add something to your family, when you have a new family member, for some people, when you have a pet, it enriches it all. Your kids learn more. They are more. They're better. Like, I think you're making a better whole. And why not have more great goodness if possible? So,
you know what I think about? I think about the moment you are like, wait a minute, Sandra Bullock is my age.
Yeah.
Googled.
Yeah.
Made the decision.
Yes.
Talked to your partner at the time.
Yes.
Made this decision. And now you're here with 2 daughters.
I can't believe it.
Right? And I think about you sharing this, and you're going to, anytime we do anything, it's going to come with people that don't get it, that project their own stuff onto us. True. But think, what I'm thinking about right now is how many people through your story who are in their 50s or any other age, through your story, are now like, oh, what's possible in my life.
Yes.
Right? Maybe I'm going to launch the business.
Yes.
Maybe I'm going to wear the freaking bikini. Maybe I'm going to like get on the dating app. Maybe I'm going to decide, oh no, I just want some fun Friday nights.
Amen.
Right? Like this is what's so beautiful. And then on top of it, oh my gosh, on top of it, your career, you are turning 60.
I'm turning 60.
Turning 60.
Yes.
And how does that feel? And do you believe in your core that your best days are ahead?
Yes. I believe 1,000%.
Yes.
60 is coming.
Yeah.
And usually, remember the way it used to be? It was like, oh, no. I am so wide open because each decade is proving like there are fresh starts, new beginnings, and so many new things. 50 is approaching. And at work, they were like, do you want to, look, you're going to do a big thing. You for it? I go, yes, I am so for it. Like, and I also think, what I was thinking about as I'm turning 60 is often it's like you receive a lot of love. And I think that's amazing. But I was telling some people at work who I'm friendly, I said, I feel like I am here solely because of people who have shown me the way. And I like to give people flowers too. Like sometimes on your birthday, I'm all for, wow, this feels good, let me receive. But I feel like it's also a thank you period in life where you're like, Maria Shriver, you changed the way I perceive life, you know? And that person deserves their flowers. Jenna, who has changed so much of how I navigate my way through life. Savannah, who has given me like advice that has changed the path that I'm taking. When you think about all that stuff, but I feel for me, I feel like there's like a repotting happening for me. And I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like certain times in life, you have to like pull it up by the roots and see where you land and in what kind of soil and how does it work? Because for each phase of my career, I feel like I have been repotting. I went from Dateline to working with Kathy Lee, which was a whole new, weird, crazy experience. And then after 50, working with Savannah, which was, the idea that you're hosting one of the top morning shows in the country seemed unattainable.
And first female duo.
And first female duo.
So badass.
Can I tell you something totally weird? I walked into a Soul Cycle class after they announced it. And you know how they always do birthdays. Yay, happy birthday, Mary Smith. Happy birthday. And they bring out a cupcake. So I'm sitting on the bike and everyone's applauding. I'm like, oh my God, we have a cupcake. I was looking for the girl with the birthday. And they were looking at me. I go, they go, you're a first. I go, we're a first? They go, you and Savannah are a first.
Yes.
I go, oh my God. And they go, now we're and one lady said to me, my girl, who is a young girl, will now realize that that is a possibility. It doesn't have to look a certain way. And so it did
like goosebumps, my whole body.
it did feel like a real change moment. And I think it's understanding and realizing like possibilities. This is the kind of job where everyone, quote, talks about, lack of a better word, a shelf life. Like, okay, great. Well, now look around. Robin Roberts is in her 60s. Oprah Winfrey just turned 70. Gail is about to turn 70. I'm about to turn 60. You look around, Savannah's in her 50s. You look around at the women who are driving the bus in this industry, and that's what you see. You don't see...
Hallelujah.
Yes. You don't see a 25-year-old going, oh, you see this. So it's all ahead. And so, I think that's part of it.
Your best days are ahead. Your best days are ahead. People are obsessed with your love life. Like obsessed.